7:49 as we get you up and get you going here on your Wednesday morning. Again, Bill Gunner live from the Hilton Garden Inn. Preston Thorne is head off to, what did he say, Joe? Was it Warrenville? Was it Warrenville? Is that what I called it correctly? Is Preston's off. He will be back tomorrow. And we will continue to get into some of the baseball as the Gamecocks line up a huge series at home. Final home series, final regular season, key word there, final regular season home series of the year. That reminds me, guess what? There was no Grand Slam last night. There was no Grand Slam, so you've still got time. Go to 1075thegame.com and register for the Palmetto Citizens FCU Grand Slam giveaway. Every game, $25 is added to the pot, and if a Gamecock hitter smacks a Grand Slam, you can win all the cash in the pot. And right now, that pot, $1,200. Imagine what you could do with $1,200 right now. But you need to go and get registered. Go to 1075thegame.com. and register. Again, it's the Palmetto Citizens FCU Grand Slam giveaway. We have 3 games this weekend starting tomorrow night. You want to make sure you're registered. Go to 1075thegame.com, and if a South Carolina batter hits a Grand Slam, you can win all the cash in the pot from Palmetto Citizens. Right now, again, that pot, $1,200. 803-404-6100. A couple of y'all weighing in on different topics. One texter weighing in and said Arden Conyers is going to be going. That's a guy who redshirted this year, another taller wing that is supposed to be a high-quality shooter. Another player from right here in the Midlands. Earlier, we were talking about hockey, and Jamie weighed in and said club hockey won the national championship this year. And that is actually pretty cool as well. And then earlier this morning, we've been talking about Gatorade flavors, colors. That was based on the new deal that Asia Wilson has now signed with Gatorade to be a spokesperson for Gatorade, and kind of mimicking, if you will, the endorsement lineup of one Michael Jordan. That's why we played the Be Like Mike ad earlier this morning, which brought back memories, little nostalgia there from Preston Thorne, as he wanted to play the Be Like Mike song from what I'm guessing is the late 80s. But South Carolina's on Asia Wilson, who will be in town on Saturday, inking a deal with Gatorade. Pretty cool for her. And speaking of that, if you listen today, you have a chance to win tickets. Continue listening today, and you'll have a chance to win tickets to see Asia Wilson and the defending champion Las Vegas Aces take on the Puerto Rican national team this Saturday at Colonial Life Arena. That game set for 1 p.m. if you want to get out to Colonial Life Arena. But if you continue listening today, right here on 107.5 The Game, 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach, 100.5 The Game in Florence. You continue listening, you could have a chance to win some tickets to see Asia Wilson and the Las Vegas Aces, the defending champion Las Vegas Aces, take on the Puerto Rican national team. So just a lot there. That's what we got into this morning. Just wrapping up final thoughts on that Trent Noah thing. That is, as I said, that's not good news. But you look at this South Carolina roster and the way that it's right now built for next year. They pick up the commitment again of Jamari Thomas, the transfer from Norfolk State. Probably should be the starting point guard. I would assume the day one starting point guard. My personal opinion is that early in the season, as Cam Scott adjusts, as Cam Scott comes in and gets adjusted, I think you see Jacoby Wright start at the 2-guard position. I think, number one, he's kind of earned it. He's going to be a senior, older player there. I think he's kind of earned it. Now, I think as Cam Scott kind of develops, Colin Murray Boyles was a little bit different because he dealt with the mono and didn't it took him a little while, obviously, even when he got back, to kind of get into basketball shape. But I think, the first, 4 or 5, maybe 6 games, you see Jacoby Wright get the start with Cam Scott coming off the bench. Now, maybe Scott comes in and has an incredible summer, and he is physically ready, and he's up to speed on the defensive system. But I think the first few games, it'll be Jacoby Wright. I think the 3-man will be Zach Davis. I'm really interested to see what kind of step forward Zachary Davis makes going into his junior year. We saw what he could do in that 1-3-1. If he is attacking the basket offensively, he's a very good player. player, gets a little bit stronger there with Scott Greenawalt. That's going to be really interesting to see. So I really like Zachary Davis there at the 3. And you talk about some length now also. When you get Cam Scott in there, because Jacoby Wright's 6'2", but you add Cam Scott. Cam's got to be 6'5". You'll have Zach Davis 6'7". That's a really good length there on your wings. And then you go to the post, obviously Colin Murray-Boyles. The thing I'm looking for Colin Murray-Boyles next year is, can he develop that B.J. Mack outside shot? If so, look out for Colin Murray-Boyles in the SEC. If he can develop that a little bit more, that would be the big thing for him this summer. That'd give you the 6'7" forward. And then Nick Pringle, the Alabama transfer, 6'10", and another athletic player down low. So we'll talk more basketball. Jason Harmon due up with us later on this morning. Get back into some baseball. Bill Gunner, live from the Hilton Garden Inn. It's the early game.
Alpine Road at Two Notch Road, still working that earlier tie-up. Also have a report, Pine Street near Highway 302 and I-26 westbound at exit 85. Disabled vehicle or the right lane is currently blocked. So if you're approaching I-26 westbound at exit 85, you are going to need to stay left. Great forecast on the way for the most part. Going to be warm, 92 for the high with some evening storms. We'll see evening storms possible for the next couple of days, at least through Friday. Tomorrow's high 87, 83 for Friday. Looking ahead to Mother's Day, looks like it's going to be sunny and 81, but 70 right now on the early game.
We're rolling along on your Wednesday morning, Bill Gunner, here at the Hilton Garden Inn for the CEOA breakfast, as they are in their meeting behind me. Jen Jensen back in studio. Preston Thorne off to work with the kids, get them fired up for reading, and he will be back tomorrow morning. And then Friday morning, we will all be down in Darlington getting ready for the Track Too Tough to Tame, the Goodyear 400 taking place on Sunday on Mother's Day. Give you an opportunity to maybe get the family together, mom or grandma or whomever, and then sit down and all watch a race together. Just check it out. Enjoy Mother's Day, and we'll be down there tomorrow we'll be down to today's Wednesday. We will be down there Friday to hang out and be a part of that. Another great event taking place in South Carolina this coming weekend is the Bassmasters Elite event out on Lake Murray. I got to admit, I was sitting out back yesterday and saw a bunch of them in town doing some practicing out there yesterday. Pretty cool to watch them. So I'm kind of excited to keep an eye on that throughout the weekend. It should be a lot of fun here. It is the 2024, and I'm going to mispronounce this because I don't know how to pronounce it, and I got myself down a path here. But the Minn Kota Bassmaster Elite. You can actually go out to Dreher Island State Park. The takeoff will occur at 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. So they get going bright and early, 7 a.m. from Dreher Island State Park. It's the 2024 Minn Kota Bassmaster Elite at Lake Murray. This was an event last year that was a huge hit. Lake Murray is, as probably a lot of y'all know, one of the elite bass fishing lakes in the country, and really cool to have the events that we have had of late. Obviously, the RBC Heritage down in Hilton Head not too long ago. You got Darlington taking place this coming weekend. We've got, obviously, the Bassmaster that I just mentioned starting tomorrow over at Dreher Island State Park. And, again, they'll be doing, I believe, the weigh-ins there as well. Those are always really cool. Jen, have you ever had a chance in your life to go to one of these weigh-ins or check it out when they bring all the fish back from the lake?
I have not, and I've never fished to where I put any, ball bearings or anything in the fish either.
Yes. Yes, please, if you're out there and you're listening, Bassmasters Elite, if you're listening on the lake this morning to us and you're trying to kind of hang out and do a little scouting, a little practice, please do not cheat. Do not put any ball bearings or other fish into the current fish you catch. But really cool event, and again, you got that coinciding this weekend with Darlington, where we will be on Friday. So we look forward to that. 803-404-6100, how you can weigh in if you want to do so this morning. Again, last night, South Carolina baseball, no problem at all up in Rock Hill. Do what they need to do, and they do it emphatically as well. Preston and I discussed this a little bit yesterday, just from the standpoint of just win the game. I saw John Whittle post last night. It really didn't matter if South Carolina won 22-2 or 2-1. Winthrop, not a very good baseball team, and because of that, South Carolina's RPI might be affected a little bit. So the main goal last night was to win the game, to not stumble in a midweek game. And since SEC play, and that's key. Since SEC play, South Carolina has been very strong in the midweek games. And when you talk about hosting a regional, maybe getting a super regional, obviously you want to have a good conference record. And South Carolina sits right now with a 13-11 SEC record. But those midweek games can be the difference in being, say, a 15 or 14 seed in the NCAA tournament, getting a regional, but then having a tougher super regional opponent, or getting closer to that 7, 8, even 9 super regional type spot. I know it stops at 8, but you look at what South Carolina's done in the midweek again after when SEC play started. Now they had that series against Mississippi. The midweeks then, USC Upstate, South Carolina won 14-8. Presbyterian 19-4. Unfortunately, then came the one midweek loss during SEC play against Georgia Southern, the ugly 8-0 loss to the Eagles there. But they bounced back. They knocked off number 13 North Carolina in a Tuesday night game up in Charlotte, 2-1. That was a great midweek victory. They knocked off the Citadel in a Tuesday night game down in Charleston, 4-3. Again, good to get a midweek win there. Didn't have one between Alabama and Kentucky. They knocked off East Tennessee State last week, 15-2 in 7 innings, becoming more dominant. And then last night again, 15-3 over Winthrop. And again, that will set up this big weekend series, monster series. If South Carolina can take 2 of 3 against the number 15th ranked Georgia Bulldogs, who knows? Maybe all of a sudden you start seeing projections with the Gamecocks as a top 8 national seed that could be in line not just to host a regional, but to host a super regional. And last night, another thing happening, the bats really starting to heat up. Austin Brindling being inserted into the lineup has been big so far, and last night he was phenomenal for the Gamecocks. 4 of 5 at the plate, had 4 RBIs. He goes along with Kennedy Jones last night, who was 2 of 3 at the plate with 5 home runs. The Gamecocks absolutely fantastic there with their performance at the plate. Just 8 strikeouts against 3 walks for the Gamecocks. Again, they pounded out 14 hits, and then the pitchers doing their job last night. 5 pitchers on the mound. Tyler Dean gets the victory out of that. Tyler Pitzer got the start through just 2 innings, but had 4 strikeouts and a walk, allowed 1 earned run against Winthrop. And Pitzer could be a guy who plays a large role this coming weekend, as he's been very good as a freshman. So the Gamecocks pick up the victory last night in a very impressive showing. Again, the key was to win. The Gamecocks now 33-15 on the season. Again, 13-11 in conference play, and they will look to get to 500, or at least to guarantee a 500 conference record this weekend. If they could take 2 of 3, that would get them to 15 conference wins, would guarantee them a 500 record. I think if they get to 17, which means they would have to go 4-2, but my personal opinion is if they get to 17 conference wins, they will find themselves as a top 8 national seed, something we'll talk about again tomorrow, getting ready for that game. Reminder, you will be able to hear that game 8 o'clock right here at 107.5. The game 7:45 pregame beginning for you, and we'll get you set for South Carolina and Georgia. We'll talk a lot more about that matchup tomorrow morning and kind of take a look at what Georgia has. 803-404-6100. Also last night in the NBA, the Boston Celtics take a 1-0 series lead over the Cleveland Cavaliers, 120-95. The number 1 seed, if you haven't been paying attention, the number 1 seed in the West, the Oklahoma City Thunder, 117-95 over Dallas. OKC taking a 1-0 lead in that series. Tonight, you've got the Knicks and the Pacers, game 2 of that series. NHL last night, if you haven't gotten into it, you get a little bit of a break, but I encourage you. The Carolina Hurricanes losing a double overtime match last night to the New York Rangers 4-3. That game was up in New York. It'll shift back to Raleigh coming up on Friday, and should be a really good contest there. The Hurricanes and the Rangers, they don't like each other. It's kind of been, it has the potential to be a nasty series if you just like good sport. If you just love entertainment and you like good sport, I encourage you to check out that series, because there's a little bit of bad blood between the two. Cue the Taylor Swift music. But those two right now set for a really fun series, and that they actually have a match tomorrow, a game tomorrow night. I said Friday, but they play tomorrow night in Carolina, in Raleigh at that arena. I forget the name of it now. They've changed a couple times, but that'll be a 7 o'clock game on TNT. So a little bit of hockey there for you as well. Tonight, Boston and Florida in their series. Boston has a 1-0 lead, and it's the first game of Edmonton and Vancouver. A couple Canadian teams, if you want to get into that. 803-404-6100. Big news yesterday in high school basketball around here. The retirement of legendary Irmo High School basketball coach Tim Whipple, a guy that I played against growing up. Know him somewhat, but obviously being that he was our rival, didn't really interact with him a great deal. We will have guys like Justin Mackey on here in the near future to talk about what Tim Whipple meant, not just to him, but to basketball as a whole. But I'd already lined up today to have Jason Harmon on, and Jason Harmon is with Nike. He is actually the Nike basketball camp's operator and director, and he's going to join me next. Jason played at Lexington. That's how I know him. Played at Lexington back in '96. He's familiar with Tim Whipple. We're going to talk a little bit about that. But also, if you've got a son or daughter this coming summer and you want to get a little bit better at basketball, Jason, again, the Nike basketball camp's operator and director here in the state of South Carolina. He's running his 11th consecutive summer Nike camps through Elite Hoops Basketball in the Midlands. I'm going to tell you all about that, where you can sign up if you want to get signed up, when the camps are. We'll give you a lot of information. We're also going to talk about Tim Whipple a little bit, a guy we remember, a guy that a lot of you remember. I've actually reached out to my former coach, Bailey Harris, yesterday, and I think this coming summer on one of the days we're going to get both Bailey Harris and Tim Whipple into our studio and talk a little high school basketball in the month of June or July and let them remember their matchups against each other, but also the development and growth they've seen of Midlands high school basketball. Obviously, a lot of legendary coaches here in town, Carl Williams, George Glimpf, but Tim Whipple, Bailey Harris right up there with him, and congratulations to Tim Whipple on retirement. We'll talk a little bit about that coming up next. We'll also tell you about some Nike basketball camps, Elite Hoops basketball camps here in the Midlands when we come back. Listening to Bill Gunner live from the Hilton Garden Inn. It is the early game.
Hey, this is Jen from CHW Cabinetry in Lexington. All the demolition we had to do last year in our kitchen, something that I was not looking forward to at all, but they made it so much better. They helped us figure out some of the accessories to have in the kitchen, made it a little bit more fun, get our design all settled. And then once we did all that, they gave us those photorealistic renderings. That was a picture of our kitchen finished before it was even finished. And that was great because then we could figure out the backsplash, the floors, the countertops, everything that we needed to complete the kitchen project. But they do more than just kitchens. If you have a closet, maybe you need some better functionality in there. Your pantry, you just found something from 2018 in there and you just need that a little more organized. They can help with those things and find better storage options for you as well, and can even help you create workspaces in your home. Visit chwcabinetry.com or call them today at 803-520-6837. Be sure to tell them Jen Jensen sent you. CHW Cabinetry, passion from inspiration to installation. We have a report of a disabled vehicle, I-26 westbound at exit 85. The right lane is blocked, so obviously going to need to stay left there at I-26 westbound at exit 85. Alpine Road at 2 Notch, an accident there, and Pine Street near 302. That's right there, kind of at Skyview Drive. So caution approaching that area as well. Looking for a high of 92 today. Could see an evening storm. Chances for evening storms really today, tomorrow, and Friday. Tomorrow's high 87, Friday 83. It's 71 right now on the early game.
$8:17 as we roll along on a Wednesday morning. Bill Gunner live from the Hilton Garden Inn for the CEOA business breakfast they are having here. Is a nice little turnout. Again, the Hilton Garden Inn down here on Gervais Street. If you're coming into town for a football game this coming year, well, guess what? Call the Hilton Garden Inn. You can you can book a reservation here and come and hang out. Conveniently located just down from 5 Points and just a few miles from the Vista in between both. Call and get your reservation for most Gamecock football games, 803-227-3400. Again, that's 803-227-3400. You can also call and maybe book a reservation if you're coming into town for a basketball camp. And speaking of those, Jason Harmon joining me now. He is the director and operator of the South Carolina Nike basketball camps, former Lexington alumni. And Jason, let's start with that because obviously the big news in the Midlands high school basketball scene yesterday is the retirement of Tim Whipple, a guy that you were very familiar with from your days at Lexington, having to go against him. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you won a state championship in '96, and that did come against Irmo and Tim Whipple.
Well, good morning, Bill. Absolutely. Great memories of playing against Tim Whipple, and we did win that state championship in 1996. That was actually my junior season. Great memory, and, of course, Tim Whipple's one of the best to ever do it. I know him personally as well. That was big news in our state yesterday. He will certainly be missed, and he's done a lot for the sport of basketball in South Carolina, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's always interesting in his coaching. Of course, you and I, we grew up playing for Coach Harris, for Bailey Harris, and he had his coaching style, but it was always fun. And those games, especially in the 90s, it's changed a little bit now with White Knoll opening back in 2000, with River Bluff opening. But much like when Eau Claire and Lower Richland, or Richland Northeast and Lower Richland, these Midland schools, they would meet. When Lexington and Irmo played in the 90s, it was an event that people would turn out for, to see Bailey and Coach Whipple go against each other, and it was always a massive crowd.
Oh, absolutely. And, they always used to say it's not over until you win the fight in the parking lot. I mean, it was a bad-blooded rivalry. People came from all over. We probably saw Bailey Harris get enough technicals to, for a lifetime. I think I saw him get ejected a time or two, as he was well known for doing back in his younger years. But, it was a great rivalry, and those were the two biggest schools, the Battle of the Dam, as they used to call it. And we just had some great things. It was crazy. That year we beat Irmo in the championship. We lost to them both times in the regular season, and then we were able to beat them in the finals. So, anyway, that was interesting. And, of course, my senior season the next year, we had the opportunity to beat them for the first time ever over there at Irmo at the Temple of Doom, as they called it. And it was just some great times. But Whipple is certainly, like I said, one of the best, and he's a guy that a lot of coaches that I know that are in the coaching business now have called and asked for advice over the years. He's always been so gracious with his time, and has certainly just done so much to advance the sport. So can't say enough great things about him and what he's done.
And we'll in the coming weeks, again, Justin Mackey will reach out to him, guys who have played for Coach Whipple, to honor him. And as I mentioned later on this summer, one of the things I want to do is get Coach Harris and Coach Whipple in studio together, combined, to let them kind of reminisce about high school basketball here in the Midlands. As we really have a great, Jason, you've grown up around it. We just mentioned 96, 97. You played over Lexington, and Midlands high school basketball really kind of showcasing right now, especially with Cam Scott coming from Lexington, Colin Murray Boyles being from AC Flora. You had Gigi Jackson from right down the road at Ridgeview. You've seen a lot of good Midlands high school basketball.
Absolutely. I mean, it's amazing. You know, back, of course, in our day, we had a good player, or a great player, I should say, come through every now and then. But it seems like now they're popping through here every single year. There's high-quality talent. And, of course, Cam Scott kind of led the bandwagon for the last couple of years. But it is just full of talent right now. The state is really growing in the sport, and kids are continuing to grow up in it and get better and better. So I think it's going to continue to improve, and there's a lot of opportunities. Of course, more and more schools are opening up as well. But it's exciting times for the sport of basketball in our state, that's for sure.
And that leads us into kind of what you've gotten into doing. Again, Jason Harmon, Nike Basketball Camps, South Carolina's operator and director, and this will be the 11th consecutive summer of running Nike camps through Elite Hoops basketball here in the Midlands. Talk a little bit about these camps. You've got both boys and girls. You have co-ed camps. Give us a little breakdown of these camps and what kind of takes place.
Yeah, Bill. So appreciate you letting me get into that a little bit. Of course, we have a few camps that are co-ed, but a lot of them, though, are divided up with specifically girls or just boys, separately. Depends on the actual camp that you sign up for. But we've got camps starting out all the way from age 9 through 16-year-olds. We've actually got a couple. I back that up. We actually have a couple intro-level camps that even start as young as age 6, depending on the camp option. But really the target age moving up is rising fourth graders all the way through rising sophomores in high school. It's a grassroots effort by Nike. We've been doing it a long time, 11 straight years, as you said, through Elite Hoops basketball. But skill development is the biggest piece of that camp in our camps. And we love teaching kids the right way to play the game, helping them get those foundational skills that will help them be successful when they get to the varsity level of high school and they get to have the chance to play later on in college and those sort of things. So we really want to hone those fundamentals. And actually at camp, one of the biggest things I like to tell people, so many camps roll the balls out and kids play 5-on-5 games one after another, and that's really their experience at some of these, big camps. We focus a lot on the 3-on-3 aspect at camp because we feel like in 5-on-5, sometimes players can hide a little bit, even when they're in a 5-on-5 mix at camp. And so at camps, we do a lot of 3-on-3 where players are playing and learn the game in a smaller setting, and they're able to learn some key concepts, whether it's cutting or screening, those sort of things. And so 3-on-3 really lends itself to teaching the game at a more, level where kids can really grasp it. So that's a big part of camp, and we have a lot of fun with it. Obviously, kids love to come and compete against some of the best players from around here, but we also have players that are, on the beginner or intermediate level that are attending these camps as well. So we divide kids up by skill level and age groups and whatnot, and kids get a chance to really see how they stack up against other players. So it's a lot of fun. And then if players are good enough, they get a chance to be invited to our state camp, which is always the first weekend in August. And they come in from all around the state. We have also camps up in the Greenville area and then in the Charleston area in the Low Country. And kids will come into Columbia for that state camp and get a chance to go against some of the other best Nike campers. So it's a great opportunity for all involved just to see how they can improve their game and how they stack up against other competition.
One of the things I know with my son, and also having run camps that I know parents always like to know about, is the kind of the coaches and the ratio of coach to player, because a lot of times you can go to some of these camps and you end up with one coach trying to have 15 or 16 players, and maybe he's not able to focus on one player individually. But with these Nike camps, you've got it broken down where it's a much better coach to player ratio.
Yeah, absolutely, Bill. We have an 8-to-1 coach-to-player ratio, which is a really good ratio for a camp like this. We have coaches that are all former players or current coaches that have played and coached at a high level, whether that be college or professionally. Our coaches, do a great job of helping players. We don't want somebody to walk in the gym and be overwhelmed with one coach having, like you said, so many campers. So having that 8-to-1 ratio is key for us. I heard you mention AC Flora a little while ago with one of your statements. Of course, current AC Flora head coach Ed Scott, he played at Clemson, Ed Scott's actually joining us on our staff for many of our camps this year. He's one of our coaches. But we've got, just a great group of guys and ladies as well that help out coaching and do a phenomenal job and really love the game and love seeing kids improve. So that's one thing that certainly campers had the opportunity to experience when they come to one of our camps this summer.
Again, Jason Harmon joining us this morning. Just a few more minutes with him. Nike Basketball Camps operator and director here in the state of South Carolina. And again, ages 9 to 6. If you want to sign up, if you want more information, go to elitehoopsbasketball.com/Columbia. That's the code. elitehoopsbasketball.com/Columbia is where you can go and get signed up. And Jason, you kind of mentioned it. Multiple camps. It'll start May 28th through May 31st. It's a Nike Intro to Hoops basketball camp at the Bar Road Sports Complex out in Lexington. That'll be followed with a co-ed camp also the same week out in Lexington. And then you've got a few at Cardinal Newman High School here in Columbia, Meadow Glen Middle School in Lexington. You've even got one down at Fox Creek down in North Augusta, Cardinal Newman again in July. So you got plenty of camps. Again, tell everybody they go register. Some of the things that come along with being registered. You mentioned the coaches, but also some of it's competitive, fun, rewarding, and as you mentioned, Nike prizes as well.
Oh, absolutely. Well, the biggest thing, obviously, we want players to come and have fun and get better, and that's certainly what players are able to do when they come. And then, of course, if they come, and each camper is going to get an evaluation of how they did at camp and what they need to do to improve their game. So we like to give players, that feedback as well on things they need to work on. Obviously, every little things like Nike T-shirts, every camper is going to get one of those, and then other players have a chance to win some fun Nike prizes, whether it's a Nike gym bag or basketballs or things of that nature. Players are always competing for those fun things and enjoy that aspect as well. So anyway, I'd love to have as many people out there that are listening to this. If you've got a question, please, you can call me directly. I don't mind putting that out there as well, Bill, 803-240-9247. I'm happy to answer any direct questions anybody has about the Nike camps, 803-240-9247. But it certainly is something, if people want to sign up, I would certainly do so sooner rather than later. Camps do fill up depending on which camp someone is going to, so I would not wait until, the week before camp. We do have camps that sell out, so people do need to get on that as soon as they possibly can.
Again, for more information, visit elitehoopsbasketball.com. Make sure you put the / after com, put the / Columbia so that you get Jason's information as well as the actual Columbia camps. So real quick, before I let you out, about a minute, for those that are interested in Nike volleyball camps, you're also working a little bit with those, and you have some information on Nike volleyball camps this coming summer.
Absolutely. We started an effort through Nike Sports Camps a year ago, and now we're running our second summer of Nike volleyball camps. I'm not actually directing those camps, but have helped operate and get those camps started. I've hired Shonda Wallace, who's actually a USC Hall of Famer. She played for the Gamecocks and actually was an assistant coach there for many years before taking, a job in high school coaching. She's now the head coach at Gray Collegiate. And Shonda does a phenomenal job. She's well known in the volleyball community. And so for any of you that have volleyball players out there, this is a camp where you're going to get high-level coaching. And a lot of the same things we talked about with basketball also apply to volleyball. But just Shonda's outstanding. She's actually got several of the D1 players at USC that are coming to help work camp this summer as well. So I know some of the young girls would enjoy getting a chance to meet and work with those young ladies as well.
Jason, we appreciate it. Taking time out today. We'll continue to put that out there and look forward to maybe catching up here in the future.
Hey, sounds good, Bill. Listen, Bill, don't eat all the food at the Hilton Garden Inn. I know how you like to eat it all, but don't eat all the food up there, buddy.
It's breakfast. I think they beat me to it. I'll do it, Jason. I appreciate you stopping by. Have a good rest of the day. 803-40. Take care. 803-404-6100. We'll come back. We'll talk a little more baseball. Also some news, other news from yesterday. Trent Noah, get back into a little more basketball. You're listening to Bill Gunner. Jen Jensen back in studio. It's the early game. Reminder this weekend, as you just heard, it is Mother's Day, and certainly you want to plan something great for Mom. Maybe you want to have the family over. Maybe you just want to have a nice, quiet, relaxing Sunday afternoon, whatever it may be. I can promise you this, Mom wants it in a clean home, and she wants that home clean without her having to do it. So don't let Mom lift a finger this Mother's Day. Call the cleaning pros at Zerust Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning to get that home insanely clean, because Zerust cleans with their ZR water technology, proven to clean better than detergents with zero residue left behind. That's one of the great reasons I use Zerust. That's why I encourage you to contact them today and take advantage of the Mother's Day sale. Get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned for only $129 when you mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game. You can book online, ZerustColumbia.com, or you can give them a phone call, 803-262-4020. Again, that's Zerust. Spell it backwards or forwards. It's the right way to clean.
I-126, that's I-126 eastbound after I-26. There is an accident reported. Also, Pine Street near 302. Spears Creek Church Road at Highway 1. We also have a report of an accident. That forecast for the next few days looks like we could have a chance for afternoon or evening thunderstorms really through about Friday. Today's high, 92. 87 tomorrow, 83 on Friday. Gets sunny for the weekend, 78 on Saturday, and Mother's Day, sunny and 81. So beautiful weather ahead. Right now, it's 71 on the early game.
Roll along live from the Hilton Garden Inn at the CEOA breakfast this morning as they are wrapping up, and we've got about 20 minutes left in this program before we will turn it over to Tyler Head for the 9 to 12 show. And again, reminder, we will be down. Jen and myself and Preston will be down in Darlington coming up on Friday for the Goodyear 400. Or we'll broadcast from there. We won't be there Sunday when they're actually running the race, but we will be there on Friday. And of course, reminder, Bassmasters taking place starting tomorrow. If you want to get out to that, 7 a.m. tomorrow morning, the 2024 Minn Kota Bassmasters Elite at Lake Murray. The tournament starts, according to the website here. They actually don't have as great a countdown. I'll say Darlington has a much better countdown, but the tournament's set to start here in 22 hours and 22 minutes. So we are not far away from the anglers taking to Lake Murray. I'm sure they'll be out there today doing some practicing, finding all the sweet spots on the lake. But you can go out to Dreher Island State Park tomorrow morning and check that out. Again, the takeoff there, and that's a really cool thing if you're out kind of in the Prosperity area, the Chapin area, you can go there. When those boats take off, Jen, it's not too dissimilar from when the NASCAR, when the cars take off there. There's a lot of noise, there's a lot of speed, there's a lot of urgency to get where you need to go very quickly, and that's Bassmaster starting tomorrow. Darlington really getting going on Friday, and of course the race on Sunday. But we'll talk more
the Cup race on
about
Sunday. Yes, there's races all week. You said the race.
Well, yeah, good. Yeah, good point. I'm sorry. Yeah, the big Cup race. You're right. Xfinity Series Saturday night is going to be a lot of fun as well. 803-404-6100. Huge. Likely going to be huge news in the college basketball world. There is a new tournament that is being set up. It's not been finalized. CBS Sports is reporting, though, and I want you to listen closely to what I'm about to tell you, because this is a one-of-a-kind revolutionary regular season men's basketball tournament that is going to be staged this November of 2024. It is a one-of-a-kind revolutionary, I'll get that word out correctly at one point, regular season men's basketball event that's going to be in Las Vegas. And you go, okay, why is it revolutionary? Well, let me tell you, it is heavily covered in NIL money, name, image, likeness. This tournament right now is going to feature, again, none of this has been completely finalized. It's expected to be finalized and announced within the next 2 weeks. It will take place, again, on the Las Vegas Strip during Thanksgiving week. It will be a college sporting event first. The event will include a $1 million NIL payout for the 8 participating schools. So the schools will get $1 million each to go into their NIL fund, or however that's working. Currently, 7 schools are expected to be a part of it. Alabama, Houston, Notre Dame, Oregon, Rutgers, San Diego State, Texas A&M have all been selected, and 8 in the final school for the 2024 event will emerge from a small group that is still being deliberated on. Again, nothing has been announced yet. CBS Sports putting out an article just about 15 hours ago, and it is a new men's basketball event that is going to be staged in Las Vegas this coming November during Thanksgiving week. And again, the selling point is based on the major factor that has drastically altered college sports over the last few years: name, image, and likeness compensation. Again, each school, right now, the expectation is each school will receive $1 million in NIL payouts for their school, or however they want to do it. Furthermore, players involved will have future earning opportunities through long-term NIL contracts, sources have told CBS Sports. It is being called the Players Era Festival, being pitched as a one-year deal. They actually want to expand the field starting in 2025. Schools such as Duke, Gonzaga, Kansas, Michigan, Syracuse, and Virginia have all engaged in discussions about potentially playing in the 2025 event. Sources from a few schools in that group have told CBS Sports they anticipate playing in the event if it is indeed extended beyond 2024 and does move forward with the plans for 16 teams in 2025. More news and more information will come out on this, but as you can hear some of the schools already being mentioned, This is the haves will receive more and the have-nots will receive less. Right now, T-Mobile Arena, MGM Grand Garden Arena, and Michelob Ultra Arena are the three venues that they're looking at holding it at. The tentative schedule is to be played November 26th, 27th, and 29th, with Thanksgiving Day off. Again, the 2024 format for the 8 teams has not been decided. Organizers are still weighing whether to have a single 8-team tournament bracket or 2 separate 4-team multi-team events. Again, it is unique in that the NIL collective of each participating school would receive $1 million. So 8 schools get $1 million essentially from this tournament, and they're picking which schools they want, and then additional significant NIL opportunities, also believed to be in the neighborhood of another $1 million, would be awarded exclusively to the winner or winners. If they, again, it's two MTE events, multi-team events. So if they have 2 events, they'll award $2 million. You get the point. But would be awarded exclusively to the winners of the event, depending again on the bracket format. Also, money would be, or could be, again, sources are still trying to figure some of this out, would be distributed to athletes by the collectives. I don't know. Is this where we see bowl games go now? Do you see bowl games going to this potentially to try and keep some players from opting out? This tournament is something that's going to probably change how we view the – it's another change, and I don't think for the good of college sports when you talk about NIL now stepping into actual games or participating teams and being able to pick and choose who you want. It's really interesting. You go to cbssports.com for more information on this. Again, right now 7 teams are believed to be on board according to sources. Those 7 teams are Alabama, Houston, Notre Dame and Oregon, Rutgers, San Diego State, and Texas A&M. There is nothing in here about how those teams were actually selected. Again, an 8th and final school will emerge from a small group that is still being deliberated on, but those 7 teams appear to be the ones that will participate in the event. And again, the event is being called the Players Era Festival, taking place in Las Vegas. We'll have more on this as it continues to develop. You can again go to cbssports.com to read more on this today. Certainly, it would be revolutionary and would be very, very different, very intriguing in the world of college basketball. So there's that. 803-404-6100. We'll come back again live from the Hilton Garden Inn. We'll wrap things up. You're listening to the early game. For Mid-State Roofing. For nearly 30 years, Mid-State Roofing has been the proven leader in the roofing and the waterproofing industry, and it's that history. It's that history right there that is your assurance that their professionals will provide the proper advice, service, and results to the needs of your facility. They'll do it in a manner that's both safe and pleasing to your operation. Let's be honest. How many of you are out there walking around this morning thinking about your roof and maybe the needs of your roof? Probably not a lot of you. Guess what? Mid-State Roofing is, and they're ready to help you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You'll either speak with an on-call technician or with a Mid-State Roofing employee. So call 803-356-1919 and let Mid-State Roofing put you in a maintenance contract that'll make sure your operation stays dry and running long into the future. Again, that's 803-356-1919. If you've got a leak, let Mid-State Roofing take a peek. .848 as we wrap it up here live from the Hilton Garden Inn this morning, where we've had a good time. They have wrapped up their meeting, the CEOA meeting, the Columbia Executive and Owners Association. So pretty cool here, and big thank you to the Hilton Garden Inn for having us out here for that this morning. Again, want to remind you the early game and the extra point, us and Tyler Head will be broadcasting live from Darlington starting at 6 a.m. early Friday morning. That is sponsored by Schroeder's Towing. So we look forward to being there and being on site. So this week, only 3 days in studio and just 2 for me since I was off Monday. But we will be down there bright and early in Darlington getting you ready for the Goodyear 400. And programming note, we will not have, if you tune in for our picks, for Jen Jensen to pick a winner, as she finally did last week with Kyle Larson. That segment will be on Friday. We will be joined by Darlington Raceway President Josh Harris. So tomorrow at 8:30, you'll have to just listen to us ramble about something else, anything else, as we will save our Josh Harris Corley Pool Solutions Checkered Flag Challenge segment until Friday morning. 803-404-6100 if you want to weigh in here in the final minutes. Again, we have talked a little bit of baseball. South Carolina last night got the job done 15-3 over Winthrop. A very good night for Kennedy Jones with a home run, a 2-run homer last night, and he had a solid evening going 2 for 3 with 5 RBIs, and then a really good night for Austin Brindling as his promotion into the starting lineup does seem to coincide with some really hot bats of late. I mentioned this earlier, but if you go back, obviously last night, 15 runs, 9 runs against Missouri in the Sunday game. We'll leave out the 3 runs in the Saturday loss, but 10 runs in the Friday game, 15 runs against East Tennessee State, 10 runs against Kentucky in the Sunday game, 13 in a loss on a Saturday game. So you go back and you look at it, and that is That is 5 out of the last 7 games that South Carolina has now put up double-digit runs, and in one of those, 7, in the other 2 they didn't. South Carolina hit 6 runs. Hit 9 runs. They had 6 in another game. But the bottom line there is the Gamecocks' bats seem to have come alive, and they need to be coming alive heading into this weekend series against the 15th ranked Georgia Bulldogs. Again, reminder, first pitch scheduled for 8 p.m. on Thursday. Now, reminder, Thursday, Friday, Saturday series that's this coming week. I know we've mentioned that a couple times. We will have pregame coverage tomorrow night beginning at 7:45. Again, first pitch scheduled for 8 o'clock. You can hear it right here on 107.5 The Game, or you can tune in on ESPNU. The Friday game scheduled for 5:30 p.m. and the Saturday game, a 2 o'clock contest over at Founders Park. If you do have questions about this team, I think it is around the starting pitching of the weekend. They have seemed to struggle a little bit at times. Eli Jones needs to find his groove again. Not a very good performance from him last Saturday there in Columbia, Missouri. That was an 8-3 loss for the Gamecocks that they sustained, their one loss of the weekend. And Jones in that game, just 2 2/3 innings. He gave up 7 hits, 5 earned runs. He walked 3 and struck out 2. If you're looking for a guy who needs to perform this weekend, it is Eli Jones, who is now 3-3 on the weekend again, or 3-3 on the season. Again, last Saturday for him not going very well, so we'll see what exactly, if anything, Mark Kingston does to shake up his rotation and keep the starting pitching there going. Again, you've had some nice performances from a couple other guys. We'll see kind of how things continue to play out. But we'll talk more about that tomorrow as we get into that series. Also tomorrow we'll talk a little bit more with Preston. I'm interested in his take. He wanted to get into subscriptions that you couldn't cancel this morning as it pertained to Trent Noah and being able to get out of the national letter of intent. But again, if you haven't heard, if you didn't see yesterday, South Carolina losing one of their 2024 basketball signees, Trent Noah, who was released by South Carolina without really much of an issue, which I think is a great job by Lamont Paris and the staff. And it is a loss. Trent Noah is expected to move into being one of the top 100 players in the country later on today when 24/7 Sports puts out their updated top 200 or top 150, whatever they do. But Trent Noah is expected to be into the top 100. He was a 4-star wing already. He was a guy who could shoot the ball, really fit what Lamont Paris wanted to do in terms of floor spacing and being a good passer, as he is considered kind of a heady player. Now you got to go out and replace him. You can't sit here and say, woe is me. And as I pointed out earlier in the program, Trent Noah, kind of similar to Colin Murray Boyles in that Lamont Paris deserves a lot of credit for getting on those two guys early, getting commitments. Again, South Carolina beat out Butler. They beat out Western Kentucky. They did beat out Seton Hall. Some good schools there, but not the blue bloods of the country. And then Trent Noah now will likely end up at Kentucky. On the flip side of things, Colin Murray Boyles, obviously he'd already signed and committed and was a local guy, but he was a guy that when he committed to South Carolina wasn't that highly thought of. Well, by the time he wrapped up his senior season, he was considered right there a top 100 prospect. So Lamont Paris has done a fantastic job of being able to go out and identify talent early on, and I don't expect anything different this time. I do think he'll go after a freshman player. We've had a lot of fun here at the Hilton Garden Inn. Thank you to everybody who's been courteous to us here. Tomorrow, back in studio with Jen and Preston. Y'all have a great rest of the day. Bill Gunner for Love Chevrolet, where the season is rolling on. It's springtacular sales over there, and you can rev up the season with exclusive specials on Suburbans, Tahoes, Silverados, Trailblazers. It's time for you to get behind the wheel and feel the possibilities of new adventures, new roads, shoot, even new destinations. Summer vacation is just around the corner. You need to be in a vehicle from Love Chevrolet. 14 acres to choose from. The $1,000 low price guarantee means you can shop other dealerships, take their deal back to the folks at Love Chevrolet, and they will top it. That hadn't happened yet, won't happen anytime soon. I-26 in Harbison between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park. Get out to Love Chevrolet today, and together, let's drive.